Alpha Level 13 upgrade. Hey guys, we are back in the spotlight with Alpha for his 13th upgrade. He's a teen now. Woo! So for this upgrade, what we're going to be doing is another modification to the Nitro Stampede. That being a waterproof receiver box. Now this receiver box is the one I got from JXXS21. Thank you very much, man. This is an awesome thing. I did, as you can see, I did go over and repaint it. He originally sent me, it was white with like some green highlights to it. And it just looked really bad with it flaking as bad as it was. So I sanded it down a little bit and repainted it to kind of match Alpha's theme. It also has a little piece that was missing before, so now I can do this upgrade. So, without further ado, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be replacing this little bracket right here that holds the receiver in place. So, biggest flaw right here, as you guys can see, is that the tank is right next to the receiver. One good miss and you'll no longer have a receiver for your RC. That I want to get rid of. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the chassis up, take it off, take everything off of it, and modify it so that the receiver box will fit onto the chassis. First thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these two screws that hold the receiver bracket in place. With the two screws removed, the receiver bracket can come right on up. And as you guys can see, it is currently zip tied. So what we can do is we can take some scissors, cut this wire tie off. We can remove all the wires that go into it, just like so. The battery is in the two servos. And then what we're going to also do is I'm going to cut up this wire tie off and then remove the whole antenna. Alright, with this off and the receiver disconnected from everything, we can put both of these to the side. This will be used later, while this you can just throw away, I guess. Next up, what we're going to do, we're going to move up front and we're going to remove the front servo, which is held on with 5 screws. 4 on top and 1 on bottom. With the 5 screws removed, the servo should be able to just come right on up and slide right on out just like that. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to move down the line a little bit and remove the 5 screws that hold the servo in place. Before we do that though, you want to, just to make it easier on yourself, make sure this right here is completely straight with the servo, so it's easier to put this back on when we go to do that later. With the 5 screws removed, the servo horn comes right on up, just like so, and the servo will slide right on out, just like that. Next up, what we're going to do is we're going to move out to the front and remove the 4 screws that hold the front suspension onto the chassis, and they're held down 2 up front right here, and then 2 back here right there. With all 4 screws removed, the chassis will come completely separate from the front suspension. And you guys got a twist and it comes off just like that. Next up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to the rear. Going to remove the exhaust real quick, just like that. Come on, there we go. There we go. Remove the exhaust pipe just like that, and then I'm going to remove the 2 screws that hold the bottom brace right down there to the chassis plate. With those 2 screws removed, we can now just flip it on over and remove the 2 bottom screws of the skid plate. Then we can remove the rear of the RC. And to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to remove the brake linkage right here, the little grub screw right there to remove this, as well as I'm going to remove all the easy start system just so it's out of the way and easier for us to work with. With the EVC start wires removed, as well as the brake linkage undone, as well as the switch right here, we can now separate the chassis from the rear suspension, just like that. Now we have the full the chassis. That's what it's called, chassis. Now we have the full chassis. I just said it. Let me just quickly move this real quick. Just get it out of the way like before. Come on, come on. You can do it. There we go. So next up, what we're going to do is I'm going to move up here, take a Dremel, and shave down those two little studs that are sticking up. Alright, with those two pegs Dremeled down, next up what we're going to do is we're going to take our receiver box, slide it right into place exactly where we're going to want it. We're going to take like a pencil or whatever you can use to mark the holes where this is going to go, and then we're going to drill it down with a drill bit. I'll get you guys the size of what you're going to need, and it'll be up on the screen right here. Alright guys, I am done drilling, and as you guys can see, I have two new holes to mount the receiver box with. I use a number 40 drill bit to drill them, and so now what we're going to do, set that down, take our receiver box, slide it over the new holes, and take the two screws that we're going to be using and put them in. With the new receiver box mounted in place, it's doing pretty good. It's pretty sturdy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start putting everything back together. First off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this that I took out and just slide it back into its little hole in the carburetor right there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our rear suspension, come around in there just like so. Let me back up, just like that. There, just like that, so. And hook up the easy start stuff and the switch and the brake linkage. With all the stuff hooked back up, next up what we're going to do is we're going to screw in the 4 screws that hold the rear of the suspension in place. There'll be 2 up here on this chassis plate, and then 2 down here at the end of the skid plate. Alright, next up what we're going to do is we're going to take the front suspension, going to take the chassis, slide it in position, twist it around a little. Alright, lay it down and put in the 4 screws that hold it together. There's 2 up front right here, and 2 on bottom right here. Real quickly, what we're going to do is we're going to take the exhaust system, slide it on just like that, and then we're going to pop in the exhaust. Just like, oh, come on. You can do it. There we go. There we go. Alright. Now we can move on to the next thing. Next up what we're going to do is we're going to take the throttle servo, which is our 2055 right here. We're going to fold the servo wire like that. Slide it underneath like so. Move that wire there. There we go. Then we're going to screw in the 4 screws that hold it in place. There's 2 in front, 2 in back, and 1 that holds the horn in place. The servo installed, now we can move out and move over to the front servo. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our servo, just slide it in there. Let me get the servo wire through. That was my phone, excuse that, that was probably an email. Slide that through just like that, and then screw down the 5 screws that hold it in. 2 in front, 2 in back, and then the 1 for the servo saver. Alright, so now some fun. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the old receiver, I'm going to stick some Velcro on it, and then I'm just going to set it down just like that. Now here comes the fun part. We are going to take our lid right here, we're going to take our little antenna, feed it through the top just like so. Then we're going to take our front steering servo, slide it in just like so. Then we're going to take our throttle servo, slide that in, and then our power. Slide that in the very end. Now what we're going to do is to plug in our steering servo into channel 1, our throttle servo into channel 2, and then our power battery into channel 3. As you can see, it's already on. Turn this off real quick. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to put this down just like so and screw in the 2 screws that hold it on. Then we're going to push as much of these cables in as we can. And then we're going to take our little battery tie and put the 2 screws that hold it down in place. And then we are done with this upgrade. Here is before. And there is after, guys. Check it out. I gotta say, first off, that looks pretty darn good. First off, the blue matches all the other blue anodized stuff on here, so that helps to make it look just a lot much better, as well as now that the receiver's in there, I no longer have to worry about doing a spill accidentally and dousing said receiver in fuel, which will destroy it. So now with this installed, I no longer have to worry about it. It looks awesome. So I gotta say, thanks JXXS21 for this donation. It looks awesome on Alpha. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all next time. And that was Alpha's level 13 upgrade.